Word up, gang. It is I, Action Johnny, once more, hot off the heels of his deck tech, bringing you a video of the deck in action. So there's going to be a few of these videos rolling out after the deck tech is uploaded. I've got a few recorded already, and I'm going to record more. As much for your viewing entertainment as it is mine, and for my learning as well. God, this game's so hard, man. This game's so hard. Never stop learning. Anyway, the game we've got for you right now is against Phoenix on Kyundin Sawa. So I had a pretty expensive opening Dynasty flop. I mulliganed away all the expensive stuff, just keeping a Shono to charge. And I flipped into Moto Youth and Border Rider, which I'm super happy with. In my mulligan, I was looking for conflict guys. So I mulliganed 3 cards there. Only one conflict guy though, and cavalry reserves in the opening hand is never super great. So he buys a Sakosuki. I buy a single Moto Youth. I'm really hoping he buys something else, and indeed he does. And I hard pass that fucking shit all day, all day, all day, every day. So this is a cool game. So he draws one Forgotten Library. And then everyone gets down to business bidding 5. And that's a pretty nice draw back up. I've got a captive audience. I got a charge there. So yes, pretty happy with that. And a second conflict character as well. So I'm now pretty happy that I can do 3 conflicts this turn. I'm kind of curious what's under the yurt, so I think I just pop that little nugget right now. Maybe not, maybe I just have a look at my provinces. So Border Rider's on Feast of Famine. It's always nice leaving a juicy target there. I'm happy to let Feast of Famine break even if there's only one fate around. It's probably less feels bad then for the opponent as well, right? They're like, oh, I still have a chance. It's like, haha, sure you do. Yeah, everyone passes. Everyone's happy passing. He goes in. I imagine a water conflict here. And look, he goes straight for the Border Rider. No surprises there. People fucking hate Border Rider. I never buy Border Rider with Fate until we're like 2 or 3 turns into the game, and even then only 1, because that shit just gets assassinated. It always gets assassinated. And even when it's not on the table, they're still going after it. Okay, so he's gone military water and he's found Feast of Famine. I obviously don't defend here. I'm pretty curious to see what his first action is. I can't remember if I bump him or do I just pass? Yeah, I kind of want to see what he does here. Almost kind of like baiting out his play. And of course he banzais himself, which I'm like, oh, okay, that's surprising. Is he just going to stop? No, he does decide to kick it. Right, interesting. So he is. He's really going for it here. He really wants that Border Rider dead and that Feast of Famine off the table. I suppose getting it out of the way and breaking it turn 1 is a pretty good strategy one way or another, right? I mean, I'm like, oh well, he's obviously just consigned himself to lose one of his dudes here, and that's cool because I'm happy to just take the fate off Suki and be done with it. She's annoying. So maybe I was considering charging something here, but ultimately that's not the correct play. So I just pass, and then he assassinates my Moto Youth, and I'm like, okay. And now this must really, at this point, his Jimmy's must really be rustling because I pass, and then I do the exact thing I was talking about in my deck tech of playing out the Vengeful Oathkeeper, and he's just got no way to counter that at all. That's just not meant to be countered. So bang, I'm down a break, but already you can see the value here. We've both got a character with the fate on, except I have 8 fate and he has 2. So cool. Suki gets honoured, and at this point I then play my second conflict character, which is my Wayfinder. Love these guys, because they find the way. It's like that meme, isn't it? Do you know the way? They actually indeed do know the way. They know the way very well, and they're always happy to guide you. Cool, so I now yurt to give honour, and look at that! I get an even better charge target than Shono, which means I can actually probably save Shono and just buy him next turn. So Wayfinder finds the way over to Manicured Garden, and that's underneath Forgotten Library. Conflicted about this because I don't want to run into Shameful. Not that it's really doing a huge amount for him here, actually. But I also don't want to give him a fate. I don't like attacking Manicured Garden. I do not like giving my opponent any economy. You know, it's fine. It's also like one of the nicer ones to leave breaking late. You always kind of want to break the nasty stuff quickly. So in a sense, our opponent's philosophy wasn't wrong there. He just kind of got a bit diddled. I'm thinking 2 fate. He's got a display of power there. So let's just give it a crack. We'll go in with a poking political. If he wants to display of power Earth, that's probably the least impactful for me. If he doesn't defend it, I can change the conflict with Captive Audience. And he doesn't defend it. He does not defend it. So I'm pretty sure at this point I do Captive Audience and charge my regulars. I mean, that's what I hope I do. I mean, I'm watching this back as a recording, so anything's possible with Pastan. That guy's a loose cannon. Obviously having a good old think. Something I've found I need to do quite a lot in this deck is really sit there and ponder the sequencing of events. Like, I can't just start playing out cards willy-nilly. You really need to think about the order of things here, because it is kind of fragile if you get it wrong. The glass cannon, you could say. So I'm thinking about my options here. It's got to be Captive Audience charge, right? That's the play here. Dan, come on, stop wasting time. And there we go. After almost passing, I Captive Audience it. Maybe I don't charge here. Maybe I just Banzai instead. Because I know, actually, that he can't assassinate this Wayfinder because he already played it. Also worth mentioning, he's on Seeker of Air, so this Manicured Garden was actually 2 extra fate, which I overlooked at the time. But it doesn't matter because I get the break and I trigger HMT. He's got nothing for that apparently, and the Earthring does trigger and I draw a second charge, so that's all really good. Now he's got an interesting choice of rings left. Also curious, I guess he hasn't seen a conflict character, which is slightly unlucky because I would have expected him to drop one in there. Oh, no, he does have a conflict character. It's a Goblin Sneak, which I just chucked with an Earthring. So weird that he didn't play that. I guess maybe he wanted it to be more impactful. I don't know. I 100% would have played the Goblin Sneak there. Maybe he doesn't have a Banzai or something. Maybe he has no Force Pumps. But you'd expect him to have like a Supernatural Storm or something, right? I'd be entirely unlucky if he has nothing. He goes into my second province with Void. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't really want Border Fortress to break, all things considered. I don't mind going down 2 breaks in a turn, but Border Fortress is one I like to keep around for a bit. Because you can do some cool things with Border Fortress. It's not just reveal a province and then, you know, go. Can't remember what I decided to do here. I have 2 charges, so I could be fangling out some ridic play here. Okay, so no defenders, and then I'm very curious to see what I actually do. I can't really remember this game. Right, I do Border Fortress, my own rally. And I think the reason for that is I do want to defend it with who? Well, I assume Shono. I think maybe my theory as well is I've got cavalry reserves in hand, so I'm pretty eager to fill up my discard. And he does have a supernatural storm. I guess he was more concerned about breaking my provinces than defending his, which is a grave error, guys. A real grave error there. Anyway, I do charge Shono just to stop the break, or if anything, just to at least force him to play more cards. Maybe use his box. He doesn't use his box, so he's got no interest in doing that. I've got no further way of buffing, but I have defended it and it hasn't broken. Some people will be like, oh Dan, you wasted that charge there. I don't know. Charges are good. Charge and cavalry reserves can be good on defense as well. You know, it's not always about smashing through provinces with it. Especially when I know now that I'm almost certainly going to get 2 breaks in a turn. So I come in there for military. It's a real bummer. I'm hoping that maybe I can top deck another conflict character of this MKR. Super great hitting shameful display there. I just gain maybe I just gain 200. Do I take? No, maybe I take. I steal at this point. Create a bit of honor pressure. Yeah, I'm so far ahead anyway. Always like gaining with Jin. I don't actually get to do my 3rd conflict because I wasn't willing to drop cavalry reserves to get a border rider out. So there you have it. Didn't use the extra military, but yeah, it's fine. That's slightly unfortunate. Had my Moto Youth not got assassinated, that would have all been fine. But hey ho, I triggered my stronghold, I created enough pressure. He's down 2 breaks to 1, and my only break is Feast or Famine compared to his Manicured Gardens and Shameful. No one won the favour, incidentally, and then he flips Kanjo District. Wow, which is great. And there's that keeper that I really wish I'd had last turn, but I'm happy to see him now. I love keeper initiates. So I think I go for Nergui here because she's good in this matchup. Plus, I'm actually okay if she gets clouded, you know? Like, it kind of sucks, but I'd rather have her clouded than Shono, Shahai, or Master of the Swift Waves. Or even him clouding the Border Rider is fine. You're going to get clouded in the Phoenix matchup, right? That's just inevitably going to happen. I didn't end up quite having the Fate lead I wanted on him because of that Seeker flip, but you know, I'm still feeling pretty good about the game currently. He's got a 0-0 out and I don't. Sort of umming and ahhing on what to buy here. I can't remember if I just decided to go with the value play and get a border rider with nothing. and then pass again. I've played 2 charges now, so I'm not super bothered about um, clearing my row. I'm thinking surely he's got to buy another guy, right? If I buy a dude, but maybe I just hard pass him again. Fantastic. Yeah, I do some really ballsy hard passing with this deck, where you're just like, whoa. I think my reasoning here is I've got cavalry reserves, and Border Rider is able to ready himself. And if he wants to cloud my no-fate Border Rider, then be my guest. And look at that, I do flip into it. I do get my 3rd charge there, which is hilarious. I've now got 2 Force of the River as well, and a cloud, so I really, next turn, want to be flopping out some kind of Shigenja. Really, really want that. Okay, so he uses his little conflict 1-drop dude to get the 2/2 bonus on the firing, which is clever because I'm pretty sure that's what I decided to go for. I'll just check what's going on there. I want my Keeper Monk for sure. I'm also aware that my Keeper Monk is probably going to get Display of Powered. I also don't want him to have the Fate, right? The cool thing about HMT is it stops Fate going on rings because you do so many conflicts, so yeah, really good. So there's his 3rd province, which is Fertile Fields, and that of course gets him another Fate. What happens here? Does he defend? He does indeed defend. I'm thinking like, well, if I really want to break this, I can, because I've got a Moto Youth. I've basically got a really awesome cavalry reserves. Do I give a fuck? Oh shit, no, he just doesn't defend. I don't know why he does this. He's literally got this guy that is only a 2/2 on firing. Sorry, 3/3 on firing, and then he's about to defend for, and then he doesn't. So I've got to assume he's got Display of Power. But that feels bad here, because you do not want Unicorn with a 10-card hand and 13 Fate knocking on the door of your strongholds. You really don't. So I'm just thinking like, okay, what's the best play for me here? I think I charge just to get the additional 2. And does he cloud her or something? I can't remember. There's a lot of like questionable plays made this turn, I think. I can't exactly recall. No, so he doesn't cloud her, that's good. Alright, so I just get the win. He gets his card from Fertile Field. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, that's why I charge. I charge because I need to get the HMT trigger off. That makes complete sense. Yeah, and he does Display of Power. I think I would have defended that. You know, boosting up your guy for conflict on firing, then not using them, and letting your opponent get the 3rd break. I mean, I guess he honours someone here. It just stops me getting a keeper, really. I'm not actually super fucked about the firing trigger, because I probably just honour my Border Rider, which is like, what, 1 stat? Yeah, he honours his initiate. That seems like a really low impact Display of Power there. I think he just wanted to stop me getting the keeper. And that's fair enough, but it cost him a province to do that, which is not great. How does this game have so long left on it? What do I spend that much time doing? Maybe it's just extra stuff after the recording finishes. Anyway, He swings back for air here, feeling that honor pressure a bit. And he wisely doesn't go for Border Fortress, knowing that I'll just use it to flip his stronghold, which is almost certainly rally. He instead goes for Upholding Authority, and I'm like, okay, yeah, dope, you can break this if you want. So I don't defend. At this point, I feel like I can't lose this game because I have 2 cavalry reserves and I have 4 really good targets for that. I have Shono, a second border rider, the regulars, and a Moto youth, so I'm getting all 6 points of value from each cavalry reserve. And I know I'm going to be able to get both off because there's no censures here. I don't really see like how he can play out from this. I've also got like Banzai and Force of the River, right? So okay, I do a cavalry reserves here for some reason. That's interesting. Probably didn't need to do this. Future me is saying this is kind of an irrelevant play. And yet I'm doing it now anyway. So I do that? That's interesting, Pastor. That's slightly unnecessary. He instantly clouds her, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Seems slightly unnecessary, that cavalry reserves. I think going back on it, that was just maybe I was worried. Oh, I remember. I was worried about rally to the cause, right? So I was like, I need to get that second border rider out ASAP, so I can poke rally with political and not have my military flipped to political, and that would screw up the turn for me. So I needed to get out a second character that could ready itself. So this is why Border Rider's so good, because I'm like, cool, I've now got a poker. He charges, which interests me. He wants to break this. That's fine. I have a look at his hand. There's a lot of nasty shit there. A lot of it doesn't do anything. I think I do some maths here. Ancestor's strength is, at this point, whatever, I think. I can't remember what he's got in the bin, but he certainly doesn't have Fushiko in the bin. Goblin Sneak I don't like, because Goblin Sneak is a conflict character. His deck is it's pretty quirky, this guy. He's running Lion Splash, and he's running Charges Limited and Goblin Sneaks. I guess he's got Legion of One in there. So pretty quirky. Yeah, so I do get rid of the Goblin Sneak because, fuck, I just want to like make sure that I can muscle through a conflict here. Okay, so I'm now 2 provinces down. I'm feeling pretty good about winning this. So I use 1 border rider to poke political now. At least that's what I fucking hope I do if I've used cavalry reserves defensively. It could also be on Earth here, so it could all have been for naught, but I was taking precautions. So I go straight for Earth. The idea of like watering back up a Cloud and Nergio isn't super appealing. And it is indeed rally to the cause. So I was very much justified in not flipping that. Kind of want to see if he defends this. He does. Yeah, the worst thing that can happen to him now is start losing. If he loses his bonsai. So clarity of purpose is that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Fine. He still has his stronghold, so he still has supernatural storm. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I wonder if I invocation here. I should really invocation, and I do. Cool, I do. I just make him spend some cards, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, see you've defended now. I kind of want to win this Earth Ring. I can. Let's just at least make you play stuff out. He has 2 court games that don't actually help him here. He needs 2 supernatural storm to not lose. Oh no, he uses the janky event. And that will do it. So at this point I'm like, yep, cool. We'll pass a Rooney on that. At least I hope I'm like that. Actually check the discount pile first, because I know he's got a second one. Right, so yeah, it's kind of not great targets for that event at the minute. I still don't really understand how that event works. Why was he 5? Does his glory count? Ah, fuck knows. Does his honours count? Okay, so this time around, I'm like, here we go. I got everything I need now to win, really. So I go void. I just think, fuck it. If my board's going, so it's his, even if I lose this. Wait, what? Did I do the military first after all of that? Oh, Dan, you bloody plum. Well, okay, so that was just a major misplay on my part. After using cavalry reserves on defense, I then did the military anyway, which is bad. I should not have done that. So I guess this game's going another turn when it doesn't need to. But on the other hand, I guess I'm making him use cards and stuff. And I guess at this point I'm kind of like, well, I'm not breaking here, so whatever. We'll just make him do his stuff. Yeah, but that's pretty bad, though. That's pretty bad. Mismanaging my conflicts like that. Should definitely have poked political first. And then just military straight into the cavalry reserves. Don't know what I was doing there, guys. Just dragging out the game. So now he does have favour, which is annoying, because now censure could potentially be activated, and I do not want that at all. So I kind of actually, through playing there, put myself in a worse position where I could have probably just won the game if I'd not been an idiot. So yeah. Fujiko summons back his guy, and I decide to keep my guy. I still have 8 fate over him now. So chances are I'm just praying for a Shigenja and I can buy out my row. Ugh, no Shigenja there. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. Like, if I don't flip one, I really need a Shigenja now, especially as he's just played Tadaka here. So I'm like, fucking flip this shit. No Shigenja underneath that. That's a bummer. So I'm thinking, right, it's like top deck or nothing now. So I've actually really made this hard for myself, which is bad. So bad. Oh, Danny. I mean, like, I could have won the game in 2 different ways last turn. If cavalry reserves wouldn't have done the trick, then if dual cavalry reserves hadn't done the trick, then I'll tell you what fucking would have, and that is goddamn unleash the Jin with 3 characters and no way for him to affect the stats after that. So about a bunch of guys, he passes a bid 5, just digging for a second wayfinder, and I get it. I get the second wayfinder, thank God. Of course he could have assassinate here. But really, that's not super important. He sticks Cloud the Mind on him, and I just stick Cloud the Mind right back onto Daka since I know he's on Lion Splash now. And that probably saves takes a much harder game into an easy game, because if he has another Assassinate for my Wayfinder and I put Force of the River on him, that's not looking good. I've done a bit of maths on my fate here, so I brought out my guys in such a way that if it does go another turn, I am not completely gefucked. This guy really did not like Negui. He clouded both instances of her. He's obviously got some bad touch experiences from Negui here. Okay, so he's first player this turn, and he goes water, and he uses his Ethereal Dreamer to make water better. Border Fortress now perfectly attackable. And I'm like, hey. Don't really know why I defend this. And maybe I just want him to use a pump. Okay. Maybe I just sack it off. Obviously having a little think here. Okay, so I defend with that because he's just going to get bowed anyway, and then I use Legion of One just to stop the break. I'm not above defending as Unicorn, guys. Now, if he even wants to get this trigger off, because the only thing the Water Ring is now doing is bowing my guy. So he uses Fushiko in the discard pile to Ancestor's Strength his Ethereal Dreamer right up. I gotta read how that card works. I guess it just adds the base stats to your current skill, because that's what it looks like it does. Which isn't bad. And I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, and now look, he's spending out more stuff to break. So I guess this is kind of what Pastan was after, was trying to get him to use some of his pumps to break Border Fortress rather than defend against this massive military push which is coming. And believe me, it is going to be massive. If I get either of those Force of the Rivers off, the game is as good as done. Second little friendly guy comes out to play, so he's almost certainly going to get bowed. Boink, and indeed he does. But it means that my Wayfinder is still standing for the big push, which is fine because Wayfinder has show no synergy anyway. I assume that's what I do here. Okay, so I'm obviously a bit wary about Sensia. So I feel like the safest. I almost think maybe I use cavalry reserves as like a bait. I didn't go in political first in case he did cancel it, and then I was fooped. So now he's at my strongholds, so I absolutely have to break this. I absolutely have to break this. He defends of both, which is completely correct to do. And I start going to town. So first thing I do is that there, and then I think I get ready to action it. Because again, the worst thing that can happen now is one of these dudes, he gets assassinated. Because I've seen the first copy. He doesn't get assassinated, so first three pop right in. Bam. Okay, so then I go, I'm like, oh well, let's see if he does have cavalry reserves. And I think I go for the Border Rider and Shono because I work out that they can give me more pumps. So I play it, I see the censure, and it goes through, which is really lucky. This means he doesn't have his censures. And now I'm breaking. So now he just has to do loads of stuff to stop this. And realistically, he isn't going to have it. Because if I get that second force of the river off and Shono, that is... Oh, that's just a hideous amount here. What are we on now? I'm on 8 characters. I go up to 11. So I would get 11 from Shono. He charges in a Mystic. I'm like, yeah, cool. Stick a second one on. I assume it's going to get me a Mystic. He's got to do it, right? Maybe he actually can't Mystic it because he doesn't have... No, he has a Bonsai, right? I've seen him... I've seen a Bonsai. For some reason, though, he doesn't get rid of it. Okay, so he lets me have that, and that is actually his downfall. I mean, not that it really matters, because I have Jin anyway. So now he uses the Bonsai on Taka. And at this point, my entire hand is free. So I just start doing all my stuff. I do that first, and that really should be game. Supernatural Storm gives him 4 if he has it, but that's nowhere near enough to stop the break. And I still have Bonsai. So he does Ancestor Strength, maybe? Supernatural Storm to give Tadaka 4. I'm like, okay, cool. Find Katana. I'm like, yep, cool. And that's all he's got. And that's that. So yeah, a couple of mistakes from myself there, and perhaps my opponent as well. Like that whole round of Tadaka coming in, like that. This whole round shouldn't really have happened. If I sequenced my conflicts correctly the round before, that probably would have been enough to win me the game. I'd seen his hand; it was like a complete known quantity there. So that's lax on my part. But hey, it all worked out in the end. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. There's more to come. As ever, thank you for watching.